Have you ever stopped messing with someone because they became super religious? Me too. So a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned how I went to a past friend's court date. And yeah, I wanted to talk about that because a couple of people wanted to know what was going on. Last year, um, in like January of 2025, I stopped talking to someone who I had known since 2020, I believe. She was a friend of my cousin's and she became like part of our family. She was at my baby shower, my gender reveal. We broke bread together and spent time together. And then her and my cousin stopped being friends, but I was still in communication with her because the reason I stopped being friends was stupid. And yeah, and she would also like send me money for my daughter when I first had my daughter, like stuff like that, like sending little cash apps and saying for the baby and like just sweet, And she found out she was pregnant, I think in like 2024, and she reached out to me about it, and I congratulated her and this, that, and the other. I let her know about some like programs for Black mothers, and we started talking about motherhood and the journey of Montress and some blah, blah, blah. And she shared some very, 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 I don't know what the word is. Just, she shared some information about one of her parents that you wouldn't share with someone you didn't trust. And we talked about it, and she became my friend. We were friends, what have you. But then, all of a sudden in early 2025, she started posting content wearing a hijab. And I sent it to a few of my family members like, I'm worried. Like, this is out of nowhere, out of the blue. She actually told me she wouldn't do this and things of that nature because, we've lost other people to becoming super religious out of nowhere. So it's kind of a red flag to me. And now that I'm watching this Nature Boy documentary, listen, it's like you don't never know who can join a cult or what have you. So y'all be careful out there, please. Don't be easily manipulated. And she's a young girl. She's about 25 now. And so over 10 years younger than me. So I showed up as like an older cousin to her. And earlier this year in January. So basically when she started posting that content, I didn't mention it to her. I didn't unfollow her. We didn't unfollow each other. But I took a step back because I was like, yeah, I'm going to let her have her journey. She's young, let her figure herself out. But I definitely like sent it to people because I was worried, like, all right, people live their own lives. But earlier this year, she, my cousin who was friends with her sent, a news article in our family group chat, and it said, young woman murders baby. Her baby was about 16, 17 months. And, listen, I'm still in denial about it. Like I live in a world where if I think about it, it will change the trajectory of my thought process in my brain, and I'll get very sad and very depressed and very angry and so I just act like nothing happened. I guess I live in a world of delusion a lot of the times, because if I dwelled on all the evil, horrible stuff that goes on in life, I would not be able to show up for my children as an attentive mother. So I felt really bad that I stopped talking to her because I knew she didn't have family. Her mother passed away a few years before, and her dad was, not a good person. And she was out here, I believe, by herself. And so, I know it's not my fault, but I'm like, what if I stayed in contact with her? Maybe she would have communicated to me that she was going to harm her child. But a lot of people have told me that's not my burden to bear. But you guys, I love children, and I couldn't imagine hurting a child, and it's just beyond me. So at first, I was angry about it, and I was in disbelief. And then I remembered who she was before all this happened, and I kind of like humanized her. And so I decided to go to her like preliminary hearing or something like that. for the person she was before she committed this horrendous act, and for her baby, because we would exchange pictures of our babies. Her baby was a few months younger than my son, and so the poor baby, I'm sorry, whoo, didn't get a chance to live life. But I don't know what she was dealing with mentally, and for her to become super religious, and in like a religious psychosis, and to be in potentially postpartum psychosis, and to have the parents that she has and maybe their DNA. It's a lot that goes into it. So I showed up to the court date, and I thought all the newscasters were there for her, but it turns out that evil murderer David was there. Like I said, he's lucky I didn't know, because they would have had to arrest me for trying to attack him. So I go to her court date. Hers takes a while. And when she comes out, she looks dead inside. Her eyes are lifeless, basically. But she sees me and her eyes kind of light up, and she gives like a weak smile, like she hasn't smiled in, months. And then her other past friend was there, and her, like, you see her soul kind of like leave her, but it wasn't like how she looked before. It was like, oh shit, this is real. People know what I did. The shit has hit the fan. And I'm sending my love to that friend of hers, because she was there for her and the baby. And I can't imagine like how she feels if I'm like, connected partially. She was like fully connected, So yeah, check on your friends, check on people. I be trying to check on people, and then I realize I come from like a bloodline that not everybody wants to be checked on, and who they want to check on is who they fuck with heavy and stuff like that. But that's why I'm so loving, and I'm so serious about friendships and showing up for people. And that's why I hate when people come into my life and leave, because I have abandonment issues. And then when you trigger those issues, it F's me up. But I have to be a good, attentive mother, so I can't let that affect me. And I showed up for her because motherhood is hard. I'm not making any excuses for her, but like, motherhood is very hard. It's very serious, and there's something different to be said about mothers and fathers, especially when you carry a life. I don't know what she was going through with the child's father. I don't know, but something set her off. And I'm putting it more on the religious psychosis than I am postpartum psychosis, because it's not a game out here. People are really like losing their minds. Like I said, I'm watching this Nature Boy documentary, and I'm like, that spirit in me that wants to be vigilant and attack people for hurting people. Like, why are you, no, or what's wrong with you? Like, knock some sense into people's heads. I don't know. But somebody had to show up to represent the baby, because she was innocent and she didn't deserve what happened to her. I'm trying to not use names and stuff like that. The lawyer, her public defender, asked me to, like, testify about who she was before, and I'm torn. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't condone her act, but then it's like, people be mentally ill. But I've never met a mentally ill person who has done this personally, where I know them, where I have pictures with them, where I spend time with them, where they've held my child, where so it's a lot. So y'all be careful out there. If you need help is available. And yeah, just, life is crazy. Please love each other and take care of each other. All the good humans out there, we're all we got. I know there's a lot of evil trying to suck us in, but we gotta stand strong. That's why I have to live in my delusional bubble and act like everything is perfect.